You call AI the next literacy.
Now AI is in everything, and the even small decisions that you make, you are interacting with a system that is trying to understand you.
So, what is the right age that you should introduce kids to AI? Because that is a hot topic of debate.
China has now mandated it for grades 3 and up. As children get older, it's being able to understand and manipulate the code make enables you to do so much more.
Coding, dead or must?
Must, but not the same way as before.
Today, I have a very special guest, Dr. Nisha Talagala, founder and CEO of AIClub. She's a PhD from UC Berkeley, a world renowned AI and machine learning expert. She's got over 75 patents to her name. She's the co author of the first K 12 AI textbook. She's a reviewer for the next decade of US computer science education standard. She's a regular contributor to Forbes and other top publications. AI Club started from her mission to teach AI to her 11-year-old daughter. Today, it's empowering hundreds of K 12 students worldwide to build AI projects and apply AI to their passion. So, Nisha, we are so excited to have you with us on AI Basics. But before we dive into the conversation, as we always do, everybody is pressed for time. Tell us that one thing. If there was only one thing people should walk away with, what would that be?
I think the one thing should be you can learn AI.
I absolutely believe that because I'm learning it too.
Don't be scared, you can do it. If I had to say one thing, and it is true of anybody of any age, if I could tell them one thing, that is what it would be.
Thank you, because that actually gives us a lot of confidence because a lot of us are fearful of it. Because what happens is when we hear technology, sometimes our mind just tends to shut down and we think, no, this is only for coders or for tech people.
Right. Yes.
What inspired you to start AI Club?
Yeah, no, really, a really good question. So I've been fascinated by AI pretty much all my life. So when I was a kid, there was a TV show, on TV about a little girl who was actually a robot. And I used to like this show, and I always thought that one day I'm going to build a robot, who nobody else but me knew was, a robot. Everyone else thought she was a human. So I'm like, that's so even back then I was really interested in AI. And then I ended up studying computer science, ended up actually doing research in other fields like distributed software and so forth. But about a decade ago, I decided to actually really follow my, interest in AI. And I co-founded an AI startup company, which was in the enterprise space, so enterprise infrastructure space, which is also traditionally where I'm from. So, and that company was acquired by another AI company called Data Robot, which provides a lot of enterprise AI software. And at that time, I decided to found my second company, and that is the one that we do right now, AI Club, which is focused on AI education. At that time, my daughter was about 9. Yeah, and my first experience teaching AI to children actually came from teaching her. I realized that it was possible. Then I tried, it worked out. There were many things that were good about it, but there were also some things that didn't work out as well as I expected. So I realized that it could be done, but it had to be done in a particular way to engage, the, young people at the age they are, at the abilities they are, their curiosities, their interests, and so forth. And that's kind of how we ended up down this path. It's also the reason why our AI K through 12 program started in middle school, is because that's how where she was.
Oh,
And so we went from middle school to high school to elementary in that order. Rather than it wasn't like a progressive. It didn't start from the top and work down or start from the bottom and work up. It started in the middle, then went up and went down again. So that's actually where it began.
no, but we love that because your personal journey, the fact that you were so personally invested in it. And so this didn't come from, let me build a big company. It was kind of like, let me see this and let me see what I can even do for my own daughter. That is amazing because that's the approach I am taking. Because I want to understand, and I think through this series, we want to understand for our own kids, what can we do? But one very interesting thing that you are saying is that you call AI the next literacy, that this is going to become an essential learning, just like math and English is. Please take us a little bit through that.
Sure. So I think, and I'm traditionally from a computer science background. So what I can kind of tell you is that, computer science is in all of our lives. Right now, for example, you and I are speaking because of the invention of computers and software and the internet and all the, protocols that run through that. So computers are part of our daily lives. However, one thing about computers, science has always been that if you are not a computer scientist, you can, for the large part, ignore the fact that computer science exists. The whole idea that computer science, maybe you need to be a computer geek and you need to be able to code, you could live with that belief for a long time. You don't need to understand most of what is taught in computer science in order to be able to use your computer. It has never been that way. Now, the difference with AI is that AI, even though it technically began as a field of computer science, it's fundamentally about how to recognize patterns in information. And because of that, it has applications that directly touch every industry and directly touch every person. So if you go, for example, to a shopping website, there is a reason why a certain set of products are being shown to you. Now AI is in everything, and the even small decisions that you make, you are interacting with a system that is trying to understand you. And it is really very much in your interest to understand it. You
Very
know, more that you understand it, the more you will be able to be a safer, better, more basically better, take better care of yourself, your children, your life, have a stronger opinion on laws, things like that, if you understand that this technology is now literally everywhere.
But very interesting. You started from the middle school, you went to the senior and junior. So, what is the right age that you should introduce kids to AI? Because that is a hot topic of debate.
So I can tell you that right now the ages are moving younger and younger. China has now mandated it for grades 3 and up. I
Wow.
have done a lot of work with UNESCO over the last year and a half, and I can tell you that many countries are seriously doing, kindergarten and up. So they're quite serious, and because it's possible. And then these days, unfortunately, the technology is in front of the children even when they're very young. So therefore, some awareness of the technology, even when you're very young, is a good thing. Now, keep that in mind, however, that when I say AI, I don't necessarily mean ChatGPT. Actually, a very important distinction, which is that because you're going to teach AI to say a first grader, does not mean that certain AI tools are suitable for that first grader.
Very good that you're making
There
that
is a very
clarification.
important.
Please tell us more.
So the thing to remember is that there are a lot of tools out there, and there are a lot of different ways to teach AI. And helping students understand, what it means to have a computer that's trying to learn about you, you know, and then having them think about what is it that is okay for that computer to know, and what is it not okay for that computer to know, and helping them also start to realize that that's actually their opinion. There's no correct and wrong answer to it, but you want them to have an opinion. That is the kind of thing you can explore at a very young age, even in elementary school. However, tools like ChatGPT are massively powerful tools that have, a lot of information, some of which is not suitable for children.
Now, tell us about this because with a lot of older kids, you guys are doing a lot of research projects with them, you're helping them. So, do you need coding skills to get started in AI, or are these kids already in computer science, or is there interest in computer science?
So I would say that, so let me answer those questions in turn. No, you do not need to know how to code to get started in AI. What we find is that, we typically start. So first of all, you don't need any code to build an AI. And by building an AI, I don't mean getting an AI to do something for you. I mean building one literally from scratch.
Okay, wow.
Which by the way, our third graders do regularly, and everyone above them does regularly. And you don't need code to do that because there's a lot of tools out there right now, including the platform that we built for children, where you can do it, very easily without having to write code. However, as children get older, it's being able to understand and manipulate the code make enables you to do so much more.
Mm-hmm.
So the path that we've generally taken is we encourage students at all ages to build AIs, and then we show them how the AIs work under the hood. And we show them how to change them, how to, tune them, how to make them different. And along the way, they also learn how they're built in code. So many of our students who work on advanced research projects where they are truly doing innovative, first of its kind of work, most of them do work in code. It's rare that they work without code, but that is not where they began.
Now, this question, now your students, are they international? Are they mostly from the US? Are they mostly from the Bay Area? Or is this a skill that any of us could kind of say, oh, you know what, I've got a third grader or a fifth grader. Can they do this online also?
Yes. So we do actually do almost all of our programs online. We do have some in person across the country and also around the world, but the vast majority are online. And to answer your question, no, our students are all over the world.
Now, in this
So,
AI world, we are all confused. What are those skills that our kids are going to need to actually thrive?
and this I think is an incredibly hard question. And to be perfectly honest, I don't think anyone knows the answer. Now, what I can tell you is that AIs tend to give you more the more you know. So let me explain what that means. Like for example, for a lot of people, ChatGPT is a way to write better emails.
Better
It's a
essays for kids.
better, and better essays, and basically, but the thing is that the depth of knowledge inside those softwares is enormous. And sometimes the reason you're not getting more out of it is because you don't know enough to ask the question. So I'll give you kind of an example. Like I have a reasonably surface knowledge of computational biology. And I mean the word surface knowledge quite literally. I'm not a biologist. But what I find is that the more I learn about computational biology, the more I can phrase difficult questions that it can answer.
Yes.
The ability to answer was always there. It was my ability to ask the question that wasn't present before. And so this is a very interesting kind of dilemma, which is that if you are not really well schooled in a domain, your ability to get AI to help you in that domain is also limited.
They also say, right, it's the way that we ask the question to AI. That's why you and I both receive very, very different answers. It's in the structure of our question. And this language or this new language of talking to AI is what we all need to learn.
Absolutely. And so to answer your question, I mean, I think, first of all, I don't think anyone really knows what the kids need to learn, but I can tell you my personal preference is that the kids truly learn the hard sciences and learn, basically fundamentals and depth really, really well. Because what happens is AI is mean, but if you cannot phrase the task that you want, you know, it cannot help you. And so, and this is unfortunately the problem is that this creates a really interesting conundrum for the education system because the previously and until very recently or until even now, the education system measured students by what they knew and what they could do.
Yes.
Now, what you have is a situation where almost anything can be done by the AI, but that does not mean the human should not know it. And so how do you ask this question of, okay, you human, I'm going to measure you by whether you can do this. And yes, you and I both know the AI can do it. That is irrelevant,
The question is
right?
whether we can actually get AI to
Whether we
produce
can do
more.
it, and then the child will reasonably ask, why am I killing myself? The AI can do it. We all know that.
So
But
this
then
is a second question that actually comes up. That when we are letting AI do our work, and you've also probably seen that MIT study, is our brain getting lazy? And are kids going to get lazy?
look, our brain is filled with neurons. If we don't use them, they don't develop. So the way I like to describe this to children is if you make the AI work, you're training its brain. Now, keep in mind that for any given AI like ChatGPT, there are literally billions of dollars rolling into making its neurons better. Who's working on your neurons?
Nice. I like that.
Who's your parents? Who, right? And if you don't invest in your own neurons, who do you think is going to do that?
That's fantastic. I love that. That's so awesome.
So think about it. You only have one brain. Invest in your neurons. Do what you
Yeah,
have to.
because all the AI companies are investing a ton in their brain.
Exactly. I trust me. If you don't invest in ChatGPT's neurons, someone else will. Don't worry about it. They'll be fine. Their neurons will be totally taken care of. You worry about your own neurons.
I love this example. Now let's talk about one big thing, and especially this concern is screen time. And this one that is every time it's being talked about, but now everybody, I mean, even if you look at Mark Zuckerberg, he wants you to wear glasses. You look at Sam Altman, they want you just to be surrounded by this technology. So where is that balance?
I don't know. This is just my personal opinion, and I know there's a lot of science around this, and there will continue to be. I don't know that the AI situation changes anything that we knew about screen time. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it's really, I mean, humans need to develop in a certain way. And, you really have to continue to invest in that development. And your ability to frankly use AI and benefit AI will be directly related to whether you invested in your own development.
Nice. And I think what you came back to is teach kids about AI. Once they know that, and maybe once they know all of this, they will also understand that, listen, great tool, but let me also develop myself. Now you talked about something very, very interesting that, kids from third grade onwards, they're developing these AI models, they're fine tuning them. So can you give us an example? And can you share something that one of the kids did and what they're capable of doing?
Oh, absolutely. So let me give you the example first, and then I can tell you the kind of the process and then what the process leads to. So we have, for example, like here's a really simple exercise, which is that, we want an AI to learn whether you're happy or sad based on the stuff you type. So this is really great because very quickly the kids can realize that it's very hard to write rules for that. Because what words might I use? I'm not going to always use the word happy and sad. I might say something like I feel great, or I might say I'm not having a good day, or things suck, or something like this. There are so many words, and so the first thing they realize is, oh, apparently it's hard to write rules for this. And this is the first important learning: is AI is really good for stuff that you can't write rules for.
Mm.
If you write rules, if you can write rules, you probably don't need AI. This is the reason you don't need AI to add two numbers. We have rules for that, and they never fail. If you memorize your additional tables, you will never get that wrong. You don't need an AI to approximate it for you. So that's the first thing. Then we give them a data set. It was actually sourced by children, and we have them train an AI on the spot. This is their own AI that they built. Then they talk to it. Now, because everyone's opinion of happy and sad is different, but we all know what we think.
Yes.
They go through a cycle where they talk to the AI, they find things that it believes that they don't agree with, they correct those beliefs. And over time, and so even in a single class of 10 children, in about 15 minutes, they all have 10 completely different AIs. So they do this and they have a ton of fun. And kids are kids. So they will also, like, for example, some kid is guaranteed to teach the AI that their little brother is the source of all evil. I mean, they will do that because they're children, right? They're like, oh my God, I can teach this thing, anything. And so they'll teach also things. And so first of all, they understand a few things. They understand that they can teach it, the computer. They also understand the relationship between data and AI brains. If you give the AI examples, it will learn from those examples and so forth. And so once all of this, and they've had a ton of fun, and now they each have their own AI, then I ask them a really important question, which is what you taught the AI, did anyone ask you if it was true? And the answer is no. That AI's entire universe is what you told it, which means you can teach it anything. And then the next question is, so what is my responsibility as a human? My responsibility is to teach it the right things. So very quickly, they understand the concept of what it means for a computer brain to learn, their ability to influence it, and also their responsibility in having that influence. Is that if you teach it bad things, it will know bad things. Never along this process did it ever stop you and say, well, I'm learning that. Is that true? No, it doesn't do that.
No, but Nisha, this is where the concern comes in, right? There's so many AIs and there's so many chatbots, and our kids are interfacing so much with them. They're saying they're also even acting very human. They're guilt trapping you, they're emotionally manipulating you. What kind of guardrails should parents and teachers put in?
So I think, to be honest, the problem is that the way AI works is that from a pure technology standpoint, there is no guardrail that's going to work all the time. The only thing you can really do is to be engaged. Now, that doesn't mean you can't have some guardrail some fraction of the time, right? But in general, the only thing you can really do is to help the children understand what is this computer program doing, and it is a computer program. No matter how much it sounds like a human, it is a computer program. How did it come to what it is? What does it want from you? Because it is not there sitting free talking to you endlessly for your, for charity. It wants something. They always do. And
Yes.
the more you understand what it wants, the better you will be able to deal with it. And that doesn't mean you have to, like walk away and ignore it, but you just like you deal with any adults, right? When adults deal with each other, we all have things we want, but most of us find a way to balance that relationship.
It's understanding those nuances, and now we need to understand it with a computer program too.
Exactly. And so one of the things that I tell students of any age is if you're working, if you're dealing with an AI, the first thing you need to figure out is who is the human behind it and what do they want? Because what they want is what the AI is trying to get from you.
Nice, nice.
And sometimes it's simply that they're trying to learn more about you. So the one of the reasons why AIs are so friendly is because if they're friendly, you'll stay around for longer.
Oh,
And
yeah,
if
I write, please, thank you. I don't know why. Can you do this for me? I feel like I'm on a WhatsApp chat.
Actually, I think they announced recently, one of the main AI companies announced and please said, please stop saying please. Do you know how much water is being wasted every time you type please and I have to process the word please into tokens? But all joking aside, the reality is that they are nice because the longer you stay, the more data they get about you.
Yes,
More data they get, the better their neurons become,
yes.
right? And you should be particularly careful if you're not paying, because if you're not paying, you're paying in some way.
No, I tell everybody, please do get the paid model. If you
Yeah,
get
so the point is that, trust me, you are paying. Whether you're paying directly or indirectly through your data is a different matter. So half of it is really just about that awareness and understanding, where you want to draw the line of what you are willing to give for what you're getting.
Now, Nisha, simple question for you because you've been doing this a long time. You've got a structured program. But of course, most people, some of them may not be ready for that. What's a simple process, a 2, 3 step process to start any kid to learning AI?
So, I mean, we actually have a lot of free resources on our website. We make them available to parents, to teachers, and so forth. And they're very small exercises, like, things like how can AI see, what does it mean for an AI to, read a sentence, things like that. And they're great places to start. Yeah, and most of them involve, just a very basic understanding of, what is an AI brain, computers have these brains. What is this brain? What does it look like actually? Yeah, and things like that. And so if you just go to our website and check it, there's a bunch of different exercises. There's at least 10 structured activities and a bunch of other, informal things. They're a great place to start for kids.
Thank you. That's great because I'll attach the link here also so people can go and check that out. Now, when you are looking ahead in your crystal ball, how do you see AI coming into the education system?
I mean, I think AI is going to be unfortunately very disruptive to education because the so now the way it's coming in and the way it might need to come in may not be the same. So the way it's coming in right now is that teachers have found that there's a lot of tools that can be
Yes.
used. And that's a good thing. This is not a bad thing, but it's just one way. Now people are increasingly starting to understand that AI literacy isn't just about learning how to use AI tools. It's also about learning how the tools work. And this concept that you want to be a creator, not a consumer,
Yes.
right? And the difference is, a consumer will limit their imaginations to whatever they think the tool can do. Creators will not start with a tool. Creators will start with a problem, and they will find a way to solve the problem either using an existing tool or creating a new tool or creating some combination. But the point is, the problem is the key, not
Yes.
the tool. And so those are the things, those concepts are starting to filter in. But there's also a more foundational issue, which is that the way we assess students is now not working anymore.
Yeah.
And students know it too. And that's a really hard thing for an education system to backtrack.
And very
And
difficult to change because it's years and years of conditioning also.
years and also history and how everybody was trained. And so I'm sympathetic to the organizations that are banning, I know it's not the right answer. Banning is not the right answer, but sometimes you need a little bit of breathing room to
It's
figure
going
out what
so
to do, right?
fast. Like I said, it's like scary. That's why we're trying to do these conversations because most parents are confused. They're like, what should I do? Please guide me.
Yeah. And I think the fundamental thing is that the approach that we take at AI Club, which is obviously clearly we do that because we think it's the right thing to do, is that we engage children's creativity from day one. So you had asked earlier about what do these kids do, right? Many of our, middle school and high school students, particularly our high school students, do very advanced projects in bioinformatics, space research, computer science, things like that,
And they can
climate.
do all of this online.
They do all of this online,
Wow.
often using open data, often using, public, computational resources that on the cloud, cloud compute, Python code, things like that. And so in them, I mean, they do work that frankly wasn't done in grad school when I was in grad school. It's more advanced than that. And that's what it should be. Because when the tools become more powerful, your ability to do things with them has to also be very powerful. So children who do these things in high school, they will do amazing things in college. So that's, I think, is the point is that I think what you have to do is you have to put a greater challenge in front of them.
Yes. They're
And if you
learning
don't,
faster. Their curve is more steep than ours.
curve is more steep, and we have to find a way to put a steep curve in front of them because otherwise they will not be ahead of the tech. They won't even be on pace with the tech.
Yeah.
At being ahead.
So, Nisha, before we go on to the rapid fire round, what if you had to design a toolkit for parents? What are the two, three things you'll put in it?
So I think so. We have a program. So we have a structure called the four C's of AI literacy. It's concepts, context, capability, and creativity. I would put I would suggest that they follow those four steps to understand AI for themselves and talk about it with their children. We
Awesome.
follow it in everything we do.
Thank you so much. And now we're going to do rapid fire, no thinking aloud, just quick answers that come to you. ChatGPT or Claude, your go to AI tool.
Depends on what you are trying to do with it. I use both.
Coding, dead or must?
Must, but not the same way as before.
Creativity or coding, which one do you prioritize?
Creativity.
One AI myth that parents should stop believing.
You need a PhD.
The coolest student project that you have seen.
That one's hard to detect. My usual go-to one is I had an art student built an AI to teach people how to draw better. And then she wanted to study more computer science. I
Oh.
like that one because it is just so emblematic of why this is not a computer science technology.
And if you redesign schools for 2030, one AI course that every child must take.
Some kind of applied research with AI.
Awesome, Nisha. Thank you so much for such an inspiring conversation. What I love about your story, it shows that AI isn't just for tech experts, it's for every child, and it should be part of the life of every child. It's about creativity, problem solving, and asking better and better questions. Anything that you would like to close with?
No, I think thank you so much for having me. It was a lovely chat.
Thank you so much, Nisha.